students. Today our topic is about transpiration. Okay. Before that, we have discussed the movement of water molecules. Bete, stop your voice and listen carefully. Okay, this is your topic about transpiration. Before that, we have discussed about the osmosis, the movement of water molecules from higher concentration to lower concentration. It is another method of movement of water molecules in the body of a plant, and this is called transpiration. The other name of transpiration is evaporation. Okay, the loss of water through the leaves. The loss of water in the body of the plant through the leaves through stomata. Okay, so this process we will study today. Transpiration is a process by which a plant loses water from its leaves into the surrounding air. It is a process in which plants loses its water through leaves in their surrounding. So the water evaporates from cell inside the leaf. Water vapor then passes out of the leaf mainly through the tiny holes called stomata. So stomata are mainly found on the lower side of the leaf. You will understand this concept with the help of a diagram. Here is a diagram is given. It's a diagram of a leaf. This is a leaf and this is another leaf and there is a stomata. And you can see there is a stoma in the center. Okay, and here are guard cells and they all are closed in this time. So stoma closed. These are closed. Keep in your mind that stomata are closed during nighttime and they are open only in at daytime. So here you can see when these guard cells are open, here these guard cells are closed. Beta, beta mute yourself and concentrate on the work. So here are guard cells and these are closed here, and you can see here when the transpiration process will be started, at that time these guard cell will be open and they will give the space from where the solution can be evaporated. So the loss of water through the leaves uh, early in the morning through stomata, that process is called transpiration, and this is very necessary. This process is very necessary. Why this process is necessary? Because at night time when the plants make their food with the help of carbon dioxide, we have discussed in our previous lecture, they make their food and they convert their starch into glucose into starch form. So at that time energy is released and extra metabolic waste are released. So these metabolic waste are collected near to the stomata. So when early in the morning these stomata are open, so this water began to evaporate in the air due to sunlight. You all of know that sunlight is responsible to evaporate water in the surrounding air, in the atmosphere. So which things control the transpiration? Each stoma is surrounded by two sausage-shaped guard cells. You also have seen in the diagram. This is in the center, this is a stoma and it is guarded by a two bean-shaped or sausage-shaped cells around it, which are called stomata, guard cells. So which control the size of the hole. So if there is a plenty of water, they will be open more. If there is less water, they will be open less. So this size is controlled by a stomata. Okay, guard cells. In the center there is a stoma and around them there are guard cells which control the size of the stomata. Okay, now we will see when a plant has plenty of water, the pressure inside the guard cell rises and the stoma will open. Open stomata allows more transpiration. So if more stomata will be open, you can see on the surface of the leaf, actually they are present at the side of the leaf, okay, and they cover the 1 or 2% of the leaf. So if there is a pressure of water, more stomata will be open. You can see here are 1, 2, 3, and 4. If there is less pressure, only 1 or 2 stomata can open. So this is the working of the stomata in the body of a plant. Now we will discuss Now we will discuss about the now we will discuss about the what affects the speed of transpiration. What affects the speed of transpiration? So there are different factors which can affect the speed of transpiration. You can see number one is given. The speed rate of transpiration can be affected by a number of things. Okay, you can see number one is temperature. On warm days, if there is a day is very hot, if there is a lot of sunshine, so more water will evaporate from the leaf cells, so transpiration will speed up. So these are the factors which tells us how transpiration is happen. First factor is that temperature. If temperature is very warm, if it is very high, so because of that more water will evaporate. Definitely leaves will discharge the extra water as a metabolic waste, so all water will be transpired, will be evaporate in the air, so that its reaction will be speed up. Second is that if it is a wind, for example, if they are windy days, if there is a strong air blowing all around, so what will be happen? Water vapor will be blown away as it comes out through the stomata. So we all of know if there is a strong wind, so the water cannot stay for a long time on the leaf, it will be blown away. So what will be happen? Transpiration will be speed up. Its reaction will be very fast. Third one is humidity. Humidity, we all of know, if the ratio of the water molecules raises in the air, that weather is called, that weather shows humidity. So on dry days, the air can hold more water vapor. When there is a dry day, what will be happen? The more water will be held by the air, water vapor. But if so, it speed up the transpiration rate speed up. So the transpiration will be speed up. And time of the day. Here we are talking about the daytime. We all of know that stomata remain closed at night time. So what will be happen at the time of the day? The stomata are only open during the day in most plants. So transpiration will be fastest then. So these are the four factors which can affect the rate of transpiration. It can be temperature, it can be wind. If there is a strong wind, it can speed up the transpiration rate. If there is humidity, so humidity has ability to hold water vapors in the air for a long time. So it also speed up the transpiration rate and time of the day, because we all of know stomata only open at daytime, so that it can also affect the rate of transpiration. So these are the four important factors which can speed up the transpiration. Now we will understand this concept with the help of the transpiration stream. So this diagram is given on page number 23 in your book. I will explain you with the help of a diagram. Number one, water enters root hairs from the surface of soil particles. Yes, we have discussed in our previous lectures that every plant have root inside the soil, and every root further divided into root hairs. Okay, you can see in the diagram these are the root hairs. So what is their function? Their function is that to absorb more and water, plenty of water and food particles for the body of a plant from the soil. So this is a process of root hair and root cells. Okay, then come to, you can see number two, water moves from cell to cells by osmosis. Yes, we also have discussed the process of osmosis, because all roots has cells inside them. So this water is pushed from cell to cell, cell to cell by the process of osmosis, means higher concentration to lower concentration. So it is pushed inside the soil. Then come to number 3 point. Water is pushed into and up, into and up by the xylem tubes by pressure. We all of know in the stem, when the stem, all cells stems have outside the soil. Okay, so they push up the water. Now you can see number 4, water is pulled up by the xylem tube. So this water is pulled up by the xylem tube. Then come to a number 5, water evaporates from leaf cells into air spaces. Then it will reaches to the leaf, and we all of know, we also had discussed that all leaves have a stomata in their edges, and in the center they have mesophyll cells, and all mesophyll cells have air spaces where water and air, when they are mixed, they make the food for the body of a plant. So this function is happen here, because when water will reach by xylem tubes into the leaf, so leaves use that water for making water for making for food for the plant. And at that time you can see this is called guard cells and this is called stoma. They are present inside the cell, and this is air spaces are stoma, and these are shown the guard cells. After that, what will be happen? Now come to sixth one. Water vapor passes out the leaf through stomata. So ultimately, what will be happen? Definitely, when the water reaches, some water will be used by the leaf for making the food, and the extra water will be extracted, will be out from the body of a plant. And you can also see upper skin of the leaf. Here it is shown by a diagram. So this is called the transpiration stream. Okay, first water is absorbed by roots and root hairs, then it passes from cell to cell. This process is called osmosis. So this water is pulled by xylem tubes in the stem. So these xylem tubes take up the water to the leaf. So first they use that water for making food, and the extra water will be stored on the top of the stoma, and when the daytime they are open, it is extracted, it is out from the body of a plant. So this whole process is called the transpiration stream. You can also see it is also called the transpiration stream. As the plant loses water by transpiration, more water is pulled up in the xylem tubes to replace it, just as a drink is pulled up. You can also understand this process with the help of an example which is given in your book. Okay, just as a drink is pulled up by a drinking straw. Okay, when you want to take some drink, you use a drinking straw. So when you pulled up all liquid from the drinking bottle, what is happened? The bottle begins to empty. So it is a process. So who pulled the water in the body of a plant? These are the xylem tubes which pulled water from the roots, and due to the pressure, due to the osmosis, they take up to the leaves. They use that water for food, and extra water is released from the body of a plant by a process which is called transpiration, which we are discussing today. Okay, so osmosis and transpiration, they both have a close relation with each other. Now come to next page. You can also see what is the function of root hairs. Okay, so root hairs increase the surface area of the roots. So why root hairs are important in the body of a plant? You can see. So root hairs increase the surface area of the roots. So why root hairs are important? Because they increase the area of roots inside the soil. So why it is important? Because so a plant get more water, can absorb more and more water. So this flow of water in xylem from roots to leaves is called the transpiration stream. So what is a transpiration stream? The flow of water in the xylem from roots to leaves is called the transpiration stream. Okay, you can also see did you know box during a growing season. During a growing season, a leaf will transpire many times more water than its own weight. A large oak tree can transpire over 150,000 liters liters of water per day. So this is very important information you have to understand. This is important for your objective. During a line, during a line exam, so this is a big amount. Now we will come to a next diagram. So you can see another diagram. The veins in this celery stalk are just below the other layer of cells. You can also see this is given in your book. It's a diagram. The veins in the celery stalk. This is a new word for you. Celery is a European herb. It is found in Europe and it is used as a vegetable. It belongs to a carrot family. Celery stack. It is a celery herb which is used in Europe and it belongs to a as a vegetable, as a salad, and it is belong to a family of carrot. So the veins in the celery stalk are just below the outer layer of the cell. So you can see its veins are present outside its body. Okay, now come to our next topic, that is spores in plants. Okay, that how plants get the spore. You also have study in your previous lecture and you all of know about this thing, that all plants get spored by the stem and by the root. So how this is possible? This is possible because of if you see the diagram, you can understand better. If you see the diagram, then you can understand it. So you will see the diagram. If you see, we all of know that all plants get water from their roots. So here you can see that these are the roots which are under the ground, and these roots are further divided into root here. So you can see veins run through middle of roots. Not as much support is needed here because the soil holds the roots in place. Okay, so when these roots are grow under the ground and the stem grow upward. So when it grow upward, what will be happen? You can also see this is a overall this is the structure of stem outside of the body of a plant, but inside they are growing like a tubes. So in the stem, the veins are arranged in a ring around the outside. This enables the stem to stand up to winds that could blow the part over. When the plant is under the ground, it is held by the roots. But when it comes out of the ground, then stem plays an important role, and the xylem tubes help them, because we also have discussed that xylem cells are dead cells and they belong to wood. They make the wood, so they hold the plant above the ground. And you can also see veins are close together to squeeze through narrow paths like this leaf stack. Okay, so you can also see this is a so these are vascular bundles. You can see this is outer part of the vascular bundle, and inside they are growing and they are coming out of the stem. And these are vascular xylem and phloem. And you can also see here veins spread out across the leaf to hold it flat. So what will be happen when the leaves comes out from the xylem and phloem tubes? They will be spread to hold it flat. So the leaf can be absorb lots of light for photosynthesis. So why they are spread and why they are flat? Because leaves have duty. This is the duty of leaves to do the photosynthesis. And definitely for photosynthesis, they need more and more sunlight, so they are broad and they are flat. Okay, so this is a process which gives the support in plants. You also see the leaves of plant need to gather as much light as they can For photosynthesis, flowers must be held up in the air so they can be pollinated by the wind or passing insect. Yes, we also know that leaves are, because they are held up in the air, so they do the pollination. Pollination, you all of know, transfer of pollens from one plant to another, and pollination can be happen in different ways: self pollination and cross pollination. So here is a example of wind pollination. Wind pollination can be of two types. Sometimes the pollens due to heavy wind falls on a same stigma, and sometimes they move and falls on and the stigma of a flower. Or passing insect, we all of know that all butterfly like to sit on the flowers for to get the nectar. So when they sit over there, the pollens attach their body, and when they sit another stigma of a flower, then these pollens transfer that plant. So plants are supported by a framework of vascular bundle, also called veins. Okay, so another name of vascular bundle is veins, vascular bundle, and you can also see that another name of vascular bundle is veins. So cells within this framework are supported by the water pressure inside them. So xylem tubes in vascular bundles have thick, strong walls which make them ideal for spotting a plant. They are like a skeleton, so running all through a plant from the ends of the roots to the tips of the leaves. So from where they are started, actually the working of xylem is started from the tips of the root and the ends of the leaves. Tips of the roots and end of the leaves. So this is the whole process of transporting food and water inside the plant. Now come to next page. Okay, turgid cells and flaccid cells. Turgid cells and flaccid cells. Now we will discuss, because we are discussing that how plants make themselves strong. So two types of two types of two types of leaves are produced inside the cell. Two types of cells are produced in the body of a plant in xylem and phloem. One cell is called a turgid and the other is called a flaccid. So you have to know about the meaning of turgid. Turgid means swollen, which becomes swollen and which becomes hard, and flaccid means which is soft, which has no strength. This is a strong cell, okay, and this is not a strong cell. So you can see when a plant has plenty of water, so this line shows that water is the most important play important part in the life of a plant, because the all functions in the body of a plant happens due to water. So if a plant is getting plenty of water, the water will enter each of its cells by osmosis. Yes, we have discussed in transpiration stream. Okay, when roots absorb more and more water, then they push towards the stem. So at that time, water moves from cell to cell by the process of osmosis. So the water enters the vacuoles, causing the cell to expand. We all of know the structure of a plant cell. If you keep in your mind, you also study in class 6 that plant cells have outer bodies called cell wall. Inside there is a cell membrane, okay, and in the center they have a large vacuole and there is a nucleus at one side. Because of that, all plant cell has a large vacuole inside it. So when a cell is getting plenty of water, and when this water enters into the vacuole, so what will be happen? That vacuole will be swollen like a ball. It will become a hard due to plenty of water. So the cell contents push out against the strong cellulose cell wall, making the cell turgid. We all of know the cell wall of a plant cell is made by a chemical which is called cellulose. So when plenty of water is entered into the body of the plant cell, in the center there is a vacuole. It will get more water. Because of getting more water, it will be swollen. It will be in the shape of like a ball. So it will become a turgid. It will become a hard. Okay, so this is the definition of turgid, and you can also see this example. Because of turgidity, the leaf get its food. Because of the turgidity, the leaf gets its food. You can also see the leaf gets its food from the turgid cell around its skeleton of leaf veins. You can also see this is a leaf, okay, and this is the midrib, and these are the veins of the leaf. And among these veins, you can also see there are many cells. So these all cells are turgid because of plenty of water, so their shape is prominent and they are become turgid. It means they have get the strength and they have get the energy, so the shape of the leaf will be turgid, okay. But there is another term: if a plant does not get a good supply of water, if it is getting less water, if it is not getting proper water, so what will be happen? Water leaves the cells. So what will be happen? The water leaves the cell, causing them to go floppy or flaccid. Flaccid means not, it has no strength, it will lose its shape. So flaccid cell give no support and the plants wilt. Wilt means it shows as like it is dying out. Okay, it has no stability in it. You can also see this is a diagram of flaccid cell. This is a turgid cell which is strong, and this is a flaccid cell which has become shrink because it has loses its water, so it cannot support the plant. So its example you can see in your book. This diagram is given. A plant without water has flaccid cells, stems and leaves wilt. So this is a diagram of a plant in which you can see the leaves are not in a stable form. They are wilt. Because these leaves showing they have no strength, and they are looking as they are dying out. So you can see there is a difference between a flaccid cells and a turgid cells. Turgid cell have a strength, they have a stability, and they are showing a life reaction. But here you can see the plant has a flaccid cell, so leaves are not growing properly, and leaves are showing are looking as they are dying out. There is no strength and there is no energy in these leaves. So this is a term which is used in your flaccid and turgidity. Flaccid and turgidity. I hope you understand the structure of turgid cell and the flaccid cell. Now you're in your book, because we are discussing the transporting system in a flower in a plant. So I'm repeating the summary of transporting food. We have discussed that transporting system consists of two main parts of the plant, which are roots and stem. Then we have discussed the internal structure of leaf, internal structure of stem. After that we have studied that when food convert into glucose, how it is transported in the body of a plant. So because of that, we have studied the vascular bundle, xylem cells, and phloem cells. After that, we have studied that except food, water molecules also transported in the body of a plant. So they show two types of movements in their body. First is called transpiration, and second is called osmosis. So osmosis is the concentration of water molecules from higher to lower concentration, and second one is that transpiration. Transpiration is that evaporation when extra water is stored in the body of a plant and metabolic waste, then it is evaporated from the body of a plant. And after that we have studied because of transpiration, two types of cells are formed inside the body. One is turgid and one is flaccid. Turgid have strength inside them. It is necessary for the plant to hold it in the above the soil, and flaccid is show no strength, no energy, so the leaves becomes wilt inside them. Now your lecture has been ended. I hope you understand it. If you have any problem, if you never understand anything, you can raise your hand.